All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Friday's Facebook Live series. As usual, Jen here introducing our speaker for today. Towanda Livingston is someone that I've had the pleasure to meet fairly recently, and I am just blown away at each new thing I learn about her. She's really amazing. Towanda is a business owner. Her business is Livingston Worx, and she helps people through coaching, consulting. She's also a podcaster and an author. I recently purchased her book. It's Grit, Grind, and Grace, right?
Yeah.
And which turned out to be a really awesome workbook. So I've got like new exercises every day to try out and kind of like reflect and get new goals and ideas out there. So that's been a really good experience. That said, let me go ahead and turn it over to Towanda to tell us a little bit more about herself and what she's going to be talking about today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. How's everyone today? I hope that you are ready to be awesome. My name is Towanda Livingston. As Jen shared, I am the owner of Livingston Worx. And what I do is I help minority and women businesses and small businesses gain access to government, public, and private sector contracting. And not only do I help them to get in, but I help them to stay in until they win, until winning becomes a habit for their business. So a little bit about me, I have over 25 years of experience in the equity, diversity, and inclusion area. My sweet spot is supplier diversity, and I'm a staunch advocate for supplier diversity because we as Americans have inherited a discriminatory economic system that denies all Americans the right to rise. So I have been an advocate for supplier diversity for over 25 years. And I have worked in the government, public, and private sector in leadership positions to help minority and women businesses gain access to government, public, and private sector contracting. As Jen shared, I'm a podcaster, I'm an author. If you want to learn more about supplier diversity and how to leverage it for your business, please check out my podcast, Waging a War on Wealth by Leveraging Supplier Diversity Programs. It's on Apple, Google, Spotify, Spreaker, and other platforms. But today, we're going to focus on certification, which is a key element of leveraging supplier diversity programs. I have a presentation I put together for you, and that's just so it makes it easier to receive this information, because it's a lot of information, but it's a lot of good information. So, buckle yourself up and let's get ready to rock and roll. Jen is going to help me with my presentation here. She's going to share the presentation with you. So, the first thing I'm always asked about certification is why get certified? And I always tell businesses that it triple A's your business. It helps to authenticate your business, it helps your business to gain access, and it helps your business to accelerate. And that's on slide 2, Jen. Jen is helping me navigate. And it authenticates your business as a minority, woman-owned, or small business, or some other disadvantaged group designation. It also provides your business with access to contracting opportunities and decision makers that have been earmarked specifically for minority and women business or some other disadvantaged group. And when it's leveraged strategically, I can tell you, it accelerates your business growth. It not only brings in more customers, but it increases your bottom line of your business. So the next slide talks about, I want to make sure you are aware that there are trillions of dollars of contracting opportunities that are earmarked for minority and women businesses. If you did not know, that is the case. When you add up all the contracting opportunities for government, public, and private sectors, it's over trillions of dollars that are available to minority and women businesses. So would you like to access those contracting opportunities? Now, if so, before you answer that question, before you say no and you say your business is too small, which is totally a lie, I need for you to stop telling yourself that lie, let me just tell you what they purchase. These organizations purchase everything from paper clips to pipes, mats to missiles, food to facility maintenance, office supplies to staff augmentation, training to technology, solutions to staples, and so much more. And these contracting opportunities range from $5 to $500 billion. So again, before you shy away from accessing these contracting opportunities, I need for you to really look at your business model and your strategic plan and see how you can tap into these contracting opportunities, because they have been earmarked for businesses like yours. So on slide 5, I talk about what is certification, because I want to make sure we're on the same page. Certification is a rigorous process by which a minority-owned business or a woman-owned business or some other disadvantaged business is certified as being 51% owned, controlled, and operated by a minority, woman, or a disadvantaged person, or economically disadvantaged person. So the process consists of formal and informal screenings, auditings. They look at your business and financial records. They do interviews and site visits. So the basic criteria for all certification programs is that the business owner is a United States citizen. It is 51% owned and controlled by the minority or women or the disadvantaged group, and that the business is for profit, okay, and that the minority and women they have all the customary rights of ownership. They are in control of the daily management operations and possess the expertise to run that business. So we're clear, minorities are considered Asian Americans, Pacific Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders and Native Americans, Black, Hispanic. So those are the minority groups. And then we also have women. There are other groups that can be designated or receive a certification from a different type of certification, and we'll talk about them shortly. But there's also small business certifications as well, and we'll talk about them shortly as well. What I need to tell you is that not all certifications are created equal, and not all certifying bodies do their due diligence. So you must, as a business owner, do your homework. And one way you can do your homework on what certification you want to pursue is, one, because I know all of you have a customer-centric business model, you want to start with your customers, the customers that you do have. Do they have a supplier diversity program? Do they have an MBE program? Because if they do, you want to find out what type of certifications do they recognize. That way you can bring more value to your customer who has these programs and may have specific goals tied to those programs, and you can help them meet those goals if you're certified. So that's the first thing you want to do, is take a look at your current customers. Secondly, you want to take a look at the customers you want to go after. So what customers do you want to attract or recruit? So what type of certifications do they recognize? What type of programs do they have? And that way you can position yourself to identify what certifications your business need to go after in order to bring additional value to those clients. And then speaking of certification, besides government entities that certify, there are private entities that certify. Make sure you go with a reputable, recognized certification body to get your certification. That is so very important. So again, do your homework, not only on your current customers, but your future customers, and make sure you identify a certifying body that is reputable. So in preparing for certification, what you need to know is that in the process of certification, they are going to be, it's like an audit. They're looking at your business. They're trying to assess whether or not the minority and women owners are in complete control. They're independently owned, operated, controlled, and managed by those minorities. So they look at the ownership structure. What expertise, what capital did you use to start the business? They look at your business structure. They look at the pay scales. Your payroll, to see if the minority and women businesses are being paid in accordance with their position. They look at the control, the governance. So if you are an S Corp or C Corp, they're looking at your bylaws, they're looking at your meeting minutes to make sure that the minority and women owners have 51%, not only on papers ownership, but have voting rights and has all the customary rights of ownership. They can move the organization independently without either a majority or a male if it's a woman. Again, they're looking for independence. Now, some certifications I do want you to be aware of. There's different types of certifications. Some certifications are going to look at the owner's net worth and also gross receipts. The gross receipts, if you're familiar with the Small Business Administration, the Small Business Administration sets the size standards for small businesses. And those size standards are either based on the number of employees or your gross receipts. So some certifications incorporate that criteria into the certification process. There's an extra layer of net worth that is assessed when you're going after the federal designation for the socially economic disadvantaged business certification and also the 8A certification. And I'll get a description of those shortly. However, what you need to know is that they're going to look at the owner's net worth. And that comes into play along with the business's gross receipts. And that's so they can assess your size standards. So prepare for the certification. What you need to know, there's going to be an application, and not all applications are the same, depending on the type of certification you're going to go after. And it's going to require you to submit supporting documentation. Now, that documentation can be extensive because you have to document that and show proof that you have ownership control in your in the deli operations, you're entering contracts, you're doing the hiring and firing. So you're going to have to prove that via your documentation. Now, with the application, they will give you a checklist to tell you, based on your business structure, what documentation you need to submit. What you should know is that you don't have to worry about doing this alone. Most certification programs have a representative inside the organizations to help you with the certification process. They hold virtual and in-class workshops, and then they have on-demand webinars that you can tap into. And so you have the application, you have the checklist, and then you have resources to help you through the certification process. Now, some entities, minority and women businesses and small businesses, they hire consultants like myself to help them with the certification process. And we do exist to help you with preparing your information for certification and also preparing you for the interview process to help you get certified. However, you can do this on your own as well. However, it does require some elbow grease and leg work to get it done. So if you don't have time because you're so busy working in your business that you can't work on your business, you know, I would encourage you to find a resource, whether paid or unpaid, to help you close the gap. Because if you strategically position yourself to get this certification, you want to make sure you'll be able to get a return on that investment. Now, some certification that you will receive may have some graduation criteria. Because they're tied to a specific program, like an MBE program or a WBE program, or what they call a DBE program. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot of acronyms at you, but let me just tell you, all of those acronyms, they lead to one important acronym, CASH for your business. So we'll get into what those acronyms mean, but what they ultimately mean is what they're going to add to your bottom line. So graduation is a part of some of the MBE and DBE programs. So you want to be mindful of that because the programs are not meant to exist in perpetuity, and because whether you are an MBE or WB in that program is based on your net worth and your gross receipts of your business. That's where those size standards come in. So I don't want to get into too much detail, but just know, do your homework to see whether or not the certification you're going after is tied to some type of graduation criteria. So moving on, you need to also be aware that there's a cost of certification. Now, for the federal, state, and local municipalities, I'm going to say typically there is no fee. However, cost comes in money and time. And so it is an arduous process. It does require a certain level of due diligence to get your paperwork application submitted and interviews and things of that nature. But once you get it, once you get your certification and use it wisely, it'll definitely yield a return on investment. So the cost of the certification, meaning the monetary fee, varies by organizations. So what you should know is that there are government agencies that do certification, but then there are third-party certifying agencies that do certifications as well. Those third-party certifying agencies, they charge a fee for certification. Okay, and then there may be some additional fees associated with that. So make sure you consider the total cost of certification, your initial certification, any renewals, and whether or not there's an annual fee for membership to the certifying body. The important thing here, and you're going to hear me say this many times over, is to do your homework, because you want to make sure, excuse me, that you invest wisely in your certification. Now, the cost of not being certified in a competitive market like ours, especially now, given where we are in the climate that we're in, is immeasurable, because businesses that are already certified are able to take advantage of opportunities specifically designated for minority women businesses, 8A certified firms, DBE certified firms, and they are getting those contracting opportunities. So here's what I want you to think about as you consider certification, because like I stated, certification is a strategic decision for your business. So think about how much revenue is coming in from my customers who want me to be certified. Will that increase with certification? Do you have any clients or customers who are asking whether or not you're certified? Are you losing contracting opportunities because you're not certified? And I can answer that question. If you're not certified and positioned yourself to access those contracting opportunities, I can tell you you're losing money. There's trillions of dollars out there that you could be tapping into. Are you competing in a market where you are the only woman or minority providing that good or services? Already you're the only one, and then just adding your certification is just the cream, adding the icing on the cake for your business and positioning yourself better to bring value to your customers. So if you answer yes to any of these questions, you may want to consider getting certified as a minority business or a woman-owned business. Now, I'm going to stop here, Jen, to see if there's any questions about the first half, because what I'm about to get into is the authentication, the accessing, and the acceleration, and the types of certifications.
So Facebook is a few seconds behind us. So if you want to give it a little pause, we can wait and see if anyone has questions. There haven't been questions so far.
Okay.
Although I did comment because I was laughing at the CASH acronym comment.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Facebook is caught up. So, and just to reiterate, questions throughout. We're gonna take Q&A a couple times. So guys, if you have questions later on, go ahead and drop them in the Facebook.
Awesome. So we can rock and roll then.
Yep.
So the next slide, which is slide number 9, is going to talk about that why get certified. So let's get into the authentication. So I told you and I shared that authentication is about the validation of your business as a certified minority or woman-owned business or some other type of designation. This certification recognizes your business locally, regionally, and nationally as a certified business enterprise. Depending on the certifying body that you go with, you can be recognized locally, regionally, and nationally, or just locally, just regionally, or just nationally. So again, do your homework related to that. In reference to becoming certified, I want to make sure I bring these 2 points to you. One is, if you are a supplier of goods or supplies, a broker, or you own a franchise, there are certain measures, additional measures you will have to go through to become certified. For example, brokers have to prove that they are delivering a commercially useful function. And what that means is that you're not just order taking, like you're not just adding costs to the product or goods or services, you're actually doing something with the product or goods or service that brings it additional value for your customer. Now, let me just put a pin here for a second. So not only will brokers and franchises may receive some additional challenges in getting certified, but even if you do get certified and you start to go after contracting opportunities in the government, public, and private sector, what I can share with you is that once you put forth your certification and they learn about what your business does, if you are a supplier or a franchisee, they want to make sure you're not a pass-through type of business and you're not just adding additional costs to the goods and services they're purchasing, but you're actually providing some commercially useful function. In addition, I want to bring up the point of, once you become certified, please make sure you help prevent fraud. Because there are trillions of dollars of opportunities out there, you can imagine how many folks want to get access to those dollars, and they set up fictitious companies, or they try to use existing minority and women businesses as front companies to gain access to those contracting opportunities. Let me tell you, there have been many cases over the past 5 years about pass-throughs, about larger companies or majority companies using minority and women businesses firms to gain access to government and public contracting. And they have paid not only stiff penalties, but they receive jail time. So not only will the entity using you receive jail time and penalties, but you can also go to jail and receive penalties if you allow somebody to fraudulently use your certification. So, and some folks, some businesses will come to you and say, hey, can you sign on to this contract? I'm trying to go with this contract for the government. I like to use your firm just to show them that I'm planning to meet the percentage for the minority and women business participation. But then after they get the contract, they drop you and then pay you a little stipend to go away. You don't want to get into those habits. So make sure you protect your certification, make sure you use it for legitimate reasons, and make sure you don't allow anyone to use it for illegitimate reasons. I failed to mention earlier about certification is that once you become certified, you're going to be certified as a minority and women-owned business in the North American Industry Classification Code. That's the NICS code, or service code or product code that your business provides. So what that means is that, say, for example, if you are a professional service firm, a financial firm, your certification is going to list your NICS code, and the NICS codes are assigned by the Census Bureau. And that's going to be on your certification. And that's going to be a key driver because your NICS code is associated with the size standards by the SBA and the size standards for other small business programs, but also it's an indicator for what contracting area and contracting opportunities that your firm will be interested in pursuing. So people use your NICS codes for various things, but mainly for the purpose of this presentation is about your certification, and it will be listed on your certification. So you can be certified in various NAICS codes, and you can graduate in certification programs from those NAICS codes based on your gross receipts and the net worth of the owner. And this is, when I talk about graduation, I want to make sure I'm clear that I'm talking about for the government and public sector. Private sector, typically there is no graduation associated with their supplier diversity programs. But I wanted to put a pin there and talk about the NAICS code, because that's very, very important driver for your certification. The next thing on slide 10, we're going to talk about access. So this certification. So once I get it, what does it afford me? Well, let me just tell you, it affords you a lot, because it gives you access to private, public, and government buyers, decision makers. It gives you access to executives that are making decisions about purchasing opportunities. It gives you access to other diverse and small businesses that you can collaborate and partner with. And it also gives you access to the larger companies that are doing business with private and public and government sector. So it does open a door of your potential customer portfolio. Also, it positions you to be eligible for preferences and competitive business development opportunities such as set-asides. Now, set-asides are contracting opportunities that are set aside for only certified minority, women, 8A, hub zone, woman-owned small businesses to compete for. So you're competing against like-sized firms, or there are direct select set-asides. Like in the 8A program, you can be a direct select, like they'll position you with a specific contracting opportunity based on the capabilities and capacity of your firm. It also, MBE and WBE certification also positions you to take advantage of prime and subcontracting opportunities based on the preferences that are afforded by the agency. So there are preferences for minority and women businesses in some institutions at a prime level. Meaning, if you're submitting a proposal or you're bidding on a contract, they will give you some preference points because you are a certified firm. Similarly, there are preferences related to subcontracting opportunities. Here's where you're not directly working with the private, public, or government agency, but you're working for one of their prime contractors and you're their sub. You help, as the subcontractor, helps the prime contractor meet their subcontracting goals or requirements related to minority and women-owned business or some other designation for their client, for their customer, which is the public, private, and government sector. So being certified helps position you to satisfy subcontracting opportunity goals and requirements, and also receive preferences related to prime contracting opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses. It also helps you position you in the private sector to help your client meet their supply diversity program goals and objectives for the utilization of minority and women businesses. You could be certified as a LGBT business, veteran-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned, or some other type of small business designation. And you can position yourself to help your client or customer meet their supplier diversity program goals and objectives by being certified. There's also the DBE program, and that's the Socially Economic Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. That's a federal designation. It is covered under the Code of Federal Regulation, Article 49, and that is a federal government designation. And we'll get into that a little bit. I'm not going to spend much time here because I have it on another slide, but you can help primes as well as federal government agency meet their objectives if you're designated as a DBE firm. And there's also small business certifications and goals and objectives. And if you're designated as one of those small businesses, you can help your clients meet those goals. And there's other programmatic goals related to being designated as a minority and women-owned business or small businesses that an entity may need to meet, and you can position yourself to meet those goals. So for example, if they have a mentoring protege program and they have a certain amount of businesses they want to be in that program, a certain type of business that wants to be in that program, in order for that program to show success, you can position yourself to be that business. The next slide talks about how once you become certified, it is the intent of the using agencies, supplier diversity or MBE programs to empower, enable, and equip you to be successful. And that's the power in your certification, because you will be giving tools and resources to help you increase your capacity, improve your capabilities, take advantage of mentor and protege programs, access to capital, whether low interest loans, grant opportunities, or some type of other funding source because of your designation. And also it helps to position you to be in a group or legislative group that are in support of minority and women businesses, so to help to create some advocacy and awareness and education when they are putting forth bills that will help small businesses grow, either from a capacity standpoint, funding standpoint, or other resources needed for startups and entrepreneurs. So again, having that designation provides you access to these opportunities. And then the most important part of, I believe, besides contracting opportunities, is the development opportunities it provides you access to. And that is, you'll have access as a minority and women-owned businesses. And some of these resources are free, especially the ones that are coming out of the SBA. They are free. If you think about it, your tax-paying dollars are paying for the SBA, and the SBA has partners which they use to provide free services, webinars, counseling, mentors to businesses like yours across the United States. So you'll have access to customized development and educational opportunities. You'll have access, as we talk about contracting opportunities. You can leverage the bidding, the pre-bid and pre-proposal meetings and information sessions and resources. There are support services that you have access to as being a designated MBE and WBE or small business. And there are development opportunities to help you bring more value, not only to your client, but to the market, by increasing your capabilities and competencies, as well as helping your business to scale. For example, the 8A program that is ran through or administered by the SBA, that is a capacity building type of program for designated or certified firms. The reason why that program is so attractive is that not only you're designated, but you are able to access contracting opportunities and start to build relationship with customers while still generating revenue for your client. Generating revenue for yourself and your business, and you're building that experience. You need that contracting experience. You need that experience because that's going to help you in the marketplace, especially grow your positioning in the marketplace. And also on slide 12, it provides you access to growth opportunities. And we talked about some of those growth opportunities that will help you improve your financial performance through contracting and mentoring and protege type programs, and increase your connections and networking opportunities. Because let me tell you, in this space, in the contracting world, your network does determine your net worth. So having access and being able to grow your connections and to network with the right people that could be champions and ambassadors for your program when you're in the room and when you're out of the room is key. It also increases your ability to do some matchmaking events and matchmake with entities or departments or organizations that you can provide value-added services to their initiatives or whatever they're seeking. And it also helps you to grow your business by forming some powerful joint ventures and strategic alliances that helps you to grow your capacity so you can collectively or in a collaboration type of structure provide a larger client with the goods and services they need. And also it helps growth because you're allowed to promote your business as a minority and women-owned businesses, which will help you open doors to get access to specific contracting opportunities. So acceleration, and this is the one that I typically spend a lot of time on, but today we're going to streamline it because once you get your certification, now you have to work it, or you have to hire someone to work it for you. I see lots of businesses that have lots of certifications, but their certifications are collecting dust. And you don't want to invest the time and money into certifications and not get your return on investment. So one way you can leverage your certification is to seek reciprocity. Because it costs time and money to get your certification, you want to see whether your certification that you obtained in Delaware works in Maryland, works in New York, works in Pennsylvania. And the way you do that is once you get certified, you want to find out what other entities, government, public, and private sector, will recognize your certification, even if they're not the certifying body or you were not certified in their state. So the only thing they can say is no, and then you would have to seek out a certification in their state. But first thing I like to do with clients is to see how we can leverage their certification in other markets. Now, you can also gain advantage with your certification if you leverage it in a way when you go to development and educational opportunities and contracting opportunities as a prime or sub, or you take advantage of the preferences that we talked about in the previous slides in various programs. The order to gain advantage is that most certifications, most supplier diversity programs, MBE programs, small business program have some type of registration portal. You will register your business in their portal, and based on your NAICS code, they will send you contracting opportunities. Once you get those contracting opportunities, you want to be able to vet those contracting opportunities and see which ones you want to go after. Once you determine which ones you want to go after, they will most likely have some type of pre-bid, pre-proposal, or some question and answer period related to those solicitations. And those are the opportunities that you want to use to leverage your certification, because we already know you have the capabilities. We want to edge out the competition by saying, yes, I have the capabilities, and also I can help you meet your MBE and supplier diversity goals because I'm certified with such and such. The other way that you can gain advantage is that because you're registered in their supplier portal, most supplier portals allow you to do B2B networking inside the portal. So you can find out in the portal, in their supplier portal, who is going after specific contracts, who were the winners, who you want to partner with, or other businesses that you can partner with to go after contracting opportunities, because you'll have access to other businesses' profiles and you'll be able to market directly to them to start to formulate your relationships. I typically said before COVID that you want to go to pre-bid and pre-proposal meetings, because there you will meet the incumbents on specific contracting opportunities. You will meet people who are going to go after it as a prime or sub, but more importantly, you will meet decision makers. So again, these are ways that you can gain advantage by being an MBE or WBE firm. And then I can tell you that the largest supplier registration portal is SAMS, which is the System of Acquisition Management for the federal government. I encourage all businesses that I work with to register in SAMS. Even if they have no intent of doing business with the federal government at this time. And the reason why is because, one, other businesses can find you that need you for specific contracting opportunities, because anyone who's received any funding, grant, or contracting opportunity from the federal government must be registered in SAMS. All departments of the federal government use the SAMS to solicit through Fed BizOps, which is their contract, let you know about the contracting opportunities, to solicit vendors to seek out participation. So being registered in there, having your business certified, and having the proper designations in there positions you, one, to be identified as a diverse or a minority or woman-owned business or service disabled veteran, but it also helps buyers, federal buyers, acquisition personnel, and larger entities find you when they're doing searches for businesses they want to do business with those designations. So again, what I try to help clients do is to lead with their capabilities and close with their certifications in their elevator pitches, in their business meetings, in their customer and client engagements, because you once you become certified, you want to make sure not only your current customers know that you're certified, but you want the marketplace to know that you're certified. So it's important that you advertise your certification on your websites, platforms, business cards, capability statements, so that you can position yourself to win the client over. The next slide is about, again, certification acceleration. So we talked about registration in the portals. And again, I would encourage you to make sure you're registered in your client portal. And I told you the largest portal in the world right now is SAMS. However, each entity, public, private, or government sector, may have their own supplier registration portal. Some states have an e-marketplace where you have to register. So again, make sure your business is registered in the right portal for the clients that you want to attract, retain, or engage. Again, do your homework on that. And then once you register, know that you will get e-alerts about potential contracting opportunities, and that's what you want. You want to make sure you get the electronic notifications of potential contracting opportunities so you can have the right of refusal. Not all contracting opportunities you'll be able to pursue, but at least you want to know what's out there, just in case you want to position yourself to pursue them as a prime contractor where you work directly for the organization, or as a subcontractor where you work for a prime of that organization. Again, vet those opportunities, and most of the opportunities in their socioeconomic section of the solicitation, or they'll have a supplier diversity section or MBE or WBE section of solicitation, will outline the goals and requirements and preferences on that particular solicitation for certified firms. So you want to be able to vet those opportunities fairly quickly to see which ones you can leverage, and that will help you accelerate your business. You also want to connect with any advocates, champions within organizations, and most organizations have some type of supplier diversity office, a DBE office, a minority business or women enterprise office, small business office, where there are champion and advocates. You want to make sure you connect with them and form a relationship with them. As in the workplace and when you're trying to get a job, and whether you're trying to get a contract, it's not what you know, it's who you know. You have to have some type of ambassador, champion, someone advocating for you inside the organization, to help push and pull you in, and then expose you to both the informal and formal contracting playbook. Because the solicitation will tell you the formal playbook for contracting. There's also an informal playbook for contracting, and you want to be able to be privy to that so you can position your business to be successful. Also, the way you accelerate your business, connect with decision makers. Most people go to connect with the buyers of organization or procurement professionals. Let me just tell you, they are the wrong people to connect with when you're talking about contracting opportunities. you need to connect with the decision makers, because the procurement and the supply chain professionals, although they're fluent in what they're purchasing, they're not the decision makers. They are the administrators. They're helping their internal client get the goods and services they need when they need it. The ultimate decision maker, the users, are the people that you want to touch base with, because they will let you know of some of the gaps in the service and goods they currently receive, which is some important intel, because it can help you position your business to be successful with that intel. And also you can get from the horse's mouth what exactly they need and what they're looking for, and that can help you position your business. And you can create some awareness, meaning you can plant some seeds to let them know that there's a solution out there that can help them with their day-to-day business operation, that can save them time and money. So as soon as you start talking to a decision maker about some cost savings or cost avoidance and time savers, their ears are going to perk up. So connecting with the decision maker is so very, very, very important. And that will help you accelerate your business as well. Attending project planning meetings or public meetings about zoning or permitting, going to commissioner or board meetings or stakeholder meetings. The reason why these are important, because the people who are signing the checks, who are approving budgets, are looking at those contracting opportunities and project initiatives. And they will often discuss small business, local business, minority and women business participation on specific contracts or projects. This is even before the contracts are solicited. So it's in the planning phases. You want to be on the ground floor of those planning meetings so you can position yourself as a potential prime or subcontractor for the contracts that are going to flow out of those particular decisions, whether it's a budget decision, whether it's a project decision, zoning or permit decision. And often commissioners and boards want updates on the utilization of small business, local business, minority and women businesses on specific projects. And here you can hear firsthand what they're looking for in the forecasting phase and during the life of the contract. Most entities that are public and government sector and some private sectors also put out their forecast of contracting for a year, or some organizations do 3 years of forecasting of contracting. You need that longer runway so that you can position yourself to participate in those contracting opportunities when they start to be advertised. So if you can download, depending on the customer, again, I don't want you to do this for all entities and all organizations. It's only for the customers that you are currently doing business with or customers that you are trying to attract. You want to download their forecasting, contracting opportunities to see how you can position yourself to participate in those contracting opportunities. Now, what you should know that there are formal contracting opportunities and informal contracting opportunities. So formal contracting opportunities are contracting opportunities that require a formal solicitation process, either through an invitation for bid or request for proposal. There are informal contracting opportunities where it only requests a request for a quote, and you want to position yourself to take advantage of those contracting opportunities because they're low-hanging fruit. Typically, informal and formal contracting opportunities are designated by a dollar threshold. Some organizations, formal contracting opportunities start at $100,000 or above, and informal is $100,000 or below. So you want to be familiar, so you want to do your homework on your client to see what that cutoff is. And the reason why I'm bringing that up here is because this is a way you can accelerate your business by going after that low-hanging fruit, those informal contracting opportunities to get your foot in the door to help you build a relationship with your client or customer firsthand, because you'll be a direct supplier or prime to the client. And that way you can build your brand equity and your reputation with that client and position yourself for more formal contracting opportunities. So there's millions of dollars of informal contracting opportunities that are designated specifically for certified minority, women, and small businesses, 8A firms, Hub Zone, women-owned small businesses. So again, make sure you, when you go in looking at the forecasting list, make sure you look at the formal list of contracting opportunities, and you want, if the agency makes available their informal list needs. So what else do you need that falls under $100,000 that I can position myself to provide you? There's also a way that you can accelerate your business. Some entities, public, private, and government sectors, offer what they call RFP and IFB mentors or coaches. These are individuals that they either hired or work for the organization to help specifically certified minority and women-owned businesses to navigate the RFP and IFB process. RFP stands for request for proposal. IFB stands for invitation for bid. So meaning the organization has hired folks or have internal folks to be your mentor or coach if you are a certified minority or woman-owned business. So you want to be able to take advantage of that if you've never submitted a response to a request for proposal or invitation for bid. So your certification will position you to have a mentor or coach related to those either RFP or IFP. And by having a coach, it is definitely to prepare you to win. And when you win, of course, that accelerates your business. And so the next slide, I'm going to get into the types of certifications. But Jen, if I can pause here and see if there's any questions related to the first 75% of the presentation.
Couple things. So someone said fraud. That doesn't, when you were talking about, not being a front for other businesses, that doesn't apply if you're using subcontractors instead of employees in your business.
No, that doesn't apply to that, no.
Okay. And then you talked about a lot of the different grants and resources that are available. And you mentioned the SBA and probably a couple other things, but if you, like, coming as a small business owner who doesn't know where any of those things are, like, how do you find them? You just Google, or are there, like, is there a directory or something someone could look at?
Sure, and I have some of the resources here in this presentation, but really quickly, for federal grants, you can go to grants.gov for all types of federal grants. Then you have grants and loans through the SBA.gov. You can go through there. There's also other government, federal, state, local, and private grants. Now, some of the places I would go, if I was a woman-owned business, I would go to I Fund Women. That's the little I Fund, F-U-N-D, Women website, because not only do they show you how to do crowdfunding and access other funding, but they list current grants that are available for women and women of color. There are also the United States Chamber of Commerce is list all funding, the best available information about grants and loans that are available. The National Federation of Independent Businesses also has a hub of grants and loans that are available. So the way that you have access to this information or find out this information is getting connected. And so the SBA has a newsletter, the chambers have a newsletter, the certification agencies we're going to talk about, they have newsletters and hubs. You may belong to a specific industry. Your industry will have a hub, most likely on their website, that talks about access to capital and funding sources. So that's just a few of things that you can use to find out about accessing capital and funding. Does that help a little bit?
Oh my God, there's so many.
I know, but you know what? And there are And let me just say this, is that I have a few here in this presentation. And I know that this is overwhelming information, especially if you're a startup business. What I would state is that if you are really interested in learning what's available for your business, just contact me, just inbox me. And I have a list of grant opportunities, and I can share that list with you, and then you can vet it.
I know you put your contact info at the end of this presentation, but go ahead and tell me what your email is so I can put it in.
And my email is tmcneil69@comcast.net. That's T as in Tom, M as in Mary, C as in Cat, N as in Nancy, E as in Edward, I as in Ivan, L as in Larry, 69@comcast.net. So you can definitely email me. You can inbox me on Facebook or LinkedIn, Twitter or Instagram with your email address and say, I'm looking for those grants, and I will definitely get them, what I have, out to you. And now, although what I give to you is not exhausted, it is definitely a good start. There's a lot of grants out there.
Okay. And then another question, and maybe you don't have time to get into this one, but it was, any advice for people without a corporate background on how to meet those decision makers?
So yes, so if you don't have a corporate, but you don't need a corporate background to necessarily meet the decision makers, what you can do is start with the supplier diversity or the disadvantaged business or minority or women-owned business office, because they're supposed to be your champions, and you can start with them to try to access decision makers that procure your particular goods or services. That's the good starting point. And you can find out who they are, those supplier diversity folks or disadvantaged business folks, by going to the websites of the entities you're seeking to do business with. The Office of Small Business Utilization for the federal government is a great resource as well. That's called the OSBU office. Because they have oversight and they touch all federal agencies, they have individuals that sit in those agencies that support small businesses and minority and women-owned businesses and veteran businesses. That's a good resource too if you want to meet some federal decision makers. But from the private sector, you can go to their website, you can go to their supplier diversity office, and they will have a contact there where you can contact someone. And that's a great entryway to the organization and the decision maker that you want to meet.
Okay, I think that's all we have so far.
Okay, so we're going to go right into the primary types of certifications. And then we will talk about some certification agencies, and then we'll wrap up. So the primary types of certifications are minority business enterprise, which is a minority-owned business that becomes certified as being 51% owned, controlled, operated, and managed by a minority or a group of minorities. And we discussed what those minorities are. And they are, African American, Hispanic American, Native American, Asian American, Asian Pacific American, subcontinent Asian Americans, and women. And you see women is classified in the MBE area because the minority business enterprise is a catch-all for certifications. However, there is a specific designation also for women, and that is the WBE, or Women Business Enterprise Certification. These are women-owned businesses that become certified as being 51% owned and controlled and operated by a woman or a group of women. There's also the Disability-Owned Business Enterprise Certification. And this is a for-profit business that is 51% owned and operated and controlled by a person or persons with disability. It's called the DOBE, and this certification is actually you would get the certification through Disability In, and we'll talk about, you'll see a link to Disability In. They do not only do disability owned business certification, but they also do service disabled veterans certification as well. There's also a certification for the LGBTE community, And that certification is administered through the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. And that is a independently owned and operated business and managed and controlled by 51% management and controlled and operated by a person or persons that are of the LGBTQI community. So, and the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce is the only certifying body in the United States that does this certification. And this certification is recognized not only in the private sector, but also in the public and government sector. The next slide talks about the federal designation. We talked about this several times already, and this is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, the DBE certification. The full title is Socially Economic Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and for short, we call it the DBE program. And this is, again, businesses that are seeking to become certified as 51% owned, operated, and controlled, independently owned, operated, and controlled by persons that have been disadvantaged. And we talked about minorities, women. However, you do not have to be a minority or woman to be economically or socially disadvantaged. And you could still become a DBE firm. Typically, you would go through your state to get this designation. So just so you can understand the hierarchy, the DBE program, which is under the Code of Federal Regulations, Article 49, is administered by the United States Department of Transportation. However, each state's Department of Transportation administers their DBE program with the guidance from the Code of Federal Regulations. So you would typically go to your state to become certified as a DBE. In order to find out what your state's DBE or how to become certified in your state as a DBE under the Uniform Certification Program. That way all state agencies could use you, as well as, federal agencies. You would need to go to the Department of Transportation for your state and then type in DBE program. Once you type in DBE program, it'll bring up the DBE office for your Department of Transportation, as well as the criteria, application process, and they probably have an on-demand webinar, checklist, and things of that nature. The DBE program looks at both the personal net worth of the owner, as well as the gross receipts of the business. So, and those size standards are the size standards we talked about that they use is based on the Small Business Administration size standards. There's also what we call ACDBE, and these are firms that are disadvantaged business enterprise, but they're going after airport concession contracts. So again, same thing, 51% owned and operated and controlled by a DBE business, but these firms will be specifically designated as airport concession disadvantaged business enterprise contracts. And that is a federal designation as well. We talked briefly about the Uniform Certification Program. Again, this is just a way of providing a one-stop shop for firms seeking the DBE certification. And then these certifications afford those businesses to be eligible for contracting opportunities, prime or subcontracting opportunities through the Federal Aviation, Highway, Transit, or other designated programs. The next slide talks about other designations you should be aware of and programs that are out there. So we have the Hub Zone, and some of you may already know about the Hub Zone, but so we're all on the same page. There is a designation in a program called the Historically Underutilized Business Zone. This is where the business is a small business. It's 51% owned and controlled by citizens and others that are operating a business in an economic improvement zone or a underserved area. And it comes with a hiring component as well, whereas though you as the hub zone owner would not only have your business exist there, but 35% of your employees will come from that underserved area. And the SBA runs this program. This is under the SBA guidance. I have provided Jen with a fact sheet for Hub Zone because this year it received some changes, and we will talk about those shortly. There's also the designation for the veteran-owned small business or the service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. And again, 51% owned and controlled by veterans or service-disabled veterans and meet the size standards. There's the women-owned small business, the WOSB, and the economically disadvantaged women-owned small business designation. Again, this is administered through the SBA. However, the SBA does use third-party certifiers. There has been some changes to this certification process beginning July 15th. And we'll talk briefly about those changes, but I'm not going to get into deep with those changes. But here's what you need to know right now is that if you're a woman-owned business, you should get this designation because it will give you opportunities for set-aside contracts under this program, because not only is it a certification, it's a program that is administered. That's very important. So you not just certify, you're inside of a program that provides you with opportunities for set-aside contracts, either direct or competitive contracting opportunities, and other development program initiatives that are designated for women-owned, certified women-owned small businesses. And I'm also I threw in these two because I want you to be aware that there are other designations at your state and local level. These designations, so they are there to support the economic ecosystem of the state or municipality, county, city. So they will have something for their small business program, they'll have a small business preference program, or they'll have what they call a county-based business entity certification or local business entity certification. And that is to afford businesses who receive those designations an opportunity to receive preferences on contracting opportunities with those particular agencies or organizations. So, and these are just a sample of some ones that Maryland offer. On slide 19, as I stated that this year in 2020, the Hub Zone as well as the WOSB program has received some enhancements. And those enhancements to the certifications in the program are that, universally they are free. And there's faster certification decisions. Their application process has been streamlined. They're engaging and doing outreach earlier, so they've expanded their outreach efforts and to create awareness of opportunities. There are also stronger oversight and stronger recertification requirements. And it also allows for the simplification of the verification process to allow the contracting officers that are using these firms to quickly and easily identify firms for set-aside contracting opportunities and make either direct awards or offer competitive solicitations. And as of July 15th, the SBA has updated their WOSB program. Now, all WOSBs have to go on to the SBA website and get your firm certified through there. The self-certification process that was traditionally associated with this program will be eliminated on October the 15th of 2020 this year. So I would encourage you, if you are a woman-owned business, to become certified. It's an easy process to become certified. However, just like all certification programs, it does require you to go online to do your application. It's an application, and you have to submit your documentation to support that. I should also let you know that the SBA will continue to use third-party certification entities for the WOSB besides going directly through the SBA. And some of those third-party certification agencies, one I'm pretty sure you're already aware of is the Women Business Enterprise National Council, and their regional offices support the SBA with certifying WLSBs because they're already certifying women business enterprise firms, and they're also doing this federal designation for firms who are seeking to become a WOSB. WOSB and EDWOSBs are women-owned businesses that are seeking to do business with the federal government. And like I said, it's a program, it's not just a certification. And you can review the highlights of those programs and what the benefits and features are on the SBA website at sba.gov. I also provided Jen with a fact sheet about becoming WOSB ready. And I would encourage you, if you're a woman-owned business, to pursue this, to obtain this, and become involved in the program, because that will definitely accelerate the growth of your business, being a part of the program and winning these particular contracting opportunities. You can gain experience in the government space and then take it out to the broader market. The other designations, we already talked about these: local business, certified business entity, or county-based business entities. These are some of the local designations. Some entities that have local designations are the District of Columbia has a certified business entity enterprise certification, and that's to give preferences to businesses that are domiciled in the district. The City of Philadelphia has a local business entity program to give preferences to businesses that are located in the City of Philadelphia. And they have and they're using their local business enterprise program to help businesses gain access to contracting opportunities $100,000 or less. So businesses with that designation will be able to have access to those contracting opportunities, $100,000 or less, for the City of Philadelphia, and gain experience with dealing with the business of the City of Philadelphia to help grow their business and also help the job creation market in the City of Philadelphia. One of the entities in Maryland that is a water wastewater authority, Prince George's and Montgomery County, is WSSC, and they have a small local business enterprise program where they approve firms to be in their program to go after their over $500 million worth of contracting opportunities. So various states, local and local municipalities, counties, cities will have local preference programs. I would encourage you to look at your particular county, city, state to see if there's some local business designation you can receive to get preferences to those contracting opportunities. There's also the AA program. Many folks are familiar with this program. It's a long-standing program administered through the SBA. And again, becoming a part of the AA program, which is I'm a strong proponent of, is that you gain the experience in working for a large client that you can leverage after you get out of the program or during the program to get additional clients with that experience. And it also helps you to gain the capacity, the knowledge, skills, and abilities. You'll get mentoring in the program. And again, I know in the past, the 8A program has received some flack because once businesses got out of the program, which is typically 9 years, they failed. They went out of business because they didn't have that guaranteed flow of contracting. However, I believe that the SBA has taken measures to try to help build the capacity and scale of the business for in a sustainable way for its longevity, as opposed to I'm only going to be viable for 9 years and after that I'm out of business. And let me just stay here while we're talking about government entities. One way you can also find out about funding and grant opportunities is through your governor's office. Your governor's office should have, especially now they have a COVID link. COVID-19 link that's listing all the resources, financial resources that you have as a small business. Please do not overlook using that site because they have hubs on their site. I just wanted to bring that up because it came to me as I was thinking about grant and funding opportunities for your business. The next thing I want to talk about is certification entities. As I stated, all certification bodies are not created equal. There are third-party certification entities, and those are simply private organizations that do certification. And then you have the public and government sector certifications. And we talked about some of those through the U.S. Department of Transportation or SBA or some other state, regional, or local certifying body. Again, do your homework. Make sure you go after the certification that is relevant to your particular customer base or client base. Now, some of the private certification bodies, the first two I mentioned here, the National Minority Supplier Development Council and the Women Business Enterprise National Council, they are the two oldest certifying bodies, private certifying bodies in the United States. They have been around for over 30 plus years. And the National Minority Supplier Development Council focuses on certifying minority-owned businesses, whereas though the Women Business Enterprise National Council focuses on certifying women-owned businesses. Now, these organizations do more than just certify firms. Their board is made up of Fortune 1000 companies. They give you access to private sector and corporate and government buyers and decision makers. They have matchmaking events. They provide resources and tools for their members and their certified business to help ensure that they thrive in various marketplaces. It's really, they have a plethora of resources available to folks that are certified through them. And then there is the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce certification. We talked about that. And they're the only entity that certifies LGBTQI firms. There's the Disability N. And again, this is the only entity that, let me just say this, there are other entities that certify disabled firms, but this is nationally recognized. Disability N is nationally recognized as a leading third-party certifier of disabled-owned businesses, and also, like I told you, the veteran and service disabled veteran-owned businesses. And then I just wanted to give you an example. The Enterprise Center of Philadelphia certifies minority and women-owned businesses as well as disabled businesses. So that's a local private organization in the city of Philadelphia that's doing certification, and the certifications that they do are, as you can imagine, are recognized by the city of Philadelphia and puts businesses in position to go after those contracting opportunities. So these are just a few of the private certification agencies. And what I want to say about the National Minority Supplier Development Council, as well as the Women Business Enterprise National Council, is that they have regional offices. There are offices located across the United States that support their constituents, either women-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses. So, for example, if you are in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware area, and then your certifying body for under the MSDC, the National Minority Supplier Development Council, will be the Eastern Minority Supplier Development Council, which is headquartered in the city of Philadelphia. And if you are in those same territories under the WeBank program or the Women Business Enterprise National Council, your certifying organization is WeBank East, that is Women Business Enterprise Council East, and they service Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. If you're in Maryland, or if you're in the DMV area, which is District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia, your certifying body for the National Minority Supplier Development Council is the Capital Region Minority Supplier Development Council. And in your women's certification agency would be the Women's Presidential Educational Organization, would be that region's certifying body. So again, these are the national ones, but these two national certifications, the top two, MSDC and WeBank, have regional offices to support entities who want to become certified as a minority or woman, and they have other support services, events. They really do a great job of matchmaking women and minority businesses to the Fortune 1000 companies and decision makers. And they also have capacity building. And also, if you go to their website, they are going to have a hub right now, specifically for COVID-19, of funding resources, grants, low interest loans, and other support services you may need. So I know that's a little bit more information you probably wanted, but I'm going to make sure you got it. The next slide talks about how you now, given this information, and I thank you for investing your time with me today, but given this information that it's time for you to connect, certify, and compete, no matter what stage your business is in, you want to know where you can fit in with the certification process, or how can you take advantage of opportunities that are afforded to minority women businesses or other designated small businesses or disadvantaged businesses. So we talked about some of the certifying agencies. We talked about, so I'm not going to go through this slide again because we've just talked about these agencies. The next slide, and these are the private certification agencies. The next slide talks about other certifying bodies. We talked about the state DOT, Department of Transportation, and their Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program. If you're in Delaware, you would go to Del.dot DBE program, and then there's the Virginia SWAM program, MDOT. You can go to, in Pennsylvania, you can go to the PA UCP website to find out where you can get, where you can obtain your DBE certification. And of course, the fountainhead for the federal government related to certifications and other small business designation is the SBA. Again, I would strongly emphasize the SBA, women-owned small business programs and certification. That's the link to that. We talked about the OSBU office, and there's an OSBU office for Veteran Affairs and other departments of the federal government, but I wanted to give you an example here of how you can access the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. There also, if you need some assistance with going after contracting opportunities, there are PTAC centers across the United States, and they are called Procurement Technical Assistance Councils, so you can tap into them as well. Again, these are federally funded resources, free resources that you can use. Other resources to help you connect, certify, and compete, and these are the top three, or the top four are partners of the SBA. Funding comes through the SBA to these organizations, and they are the Minority Business Development Agency, the Small Business Development Center, SCORE.org. All these organizations offer free resources to minority women small businesses. Now, we tend to undervalue things that we get for free, but these resources are invaluable because they bring the best experts, the best resources to the table to help support either startups, folks who want to grow their business, and other businesses that are in various stages. They offer free mentoring and protege and coaching. They have free webinars, assistance with obtaining funding. I mean, these are all free at your disposal. And I forgot to mention also the Association of Women Business Centers. Women Business Centers also are funded by the SBA as well, and they have regional offices as well. And some of the entities I value and connect with, and there are many, so if I left anyone out, I apologize, but some of the ones that have some great resources right now for businesses are the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has a resource kit that's available. You have the Delaware Chamber of Commerce. You have the Delaware Division of Small Business and Office of Supplier Diversity. On slide 25, I talk about the ISM. ISM stands for the Institute for Supply Management. This is the institute that folks that are in the supply chain for organizations belong to. So those are people who are making purchasing decisions for their organization. So they provide resources too to educate not only supply chain professionals, but people who want to engage with those professionals. There's also, we talked about OSBU and the PTAC, and I also, at the bottom of slide 25 is that grant.gov, where if you want to access grants for the federal government, you can access those. There's also grants and information related to, there's also grant information on other hubs as well. Like we discussed that with the U.S. Chamber, the National Federation of Independent Businesses. If you want to find out some forecasting for contracting opportunities in the U.S. from the federal government side, you can go to USA Spending and list all the forecasting opportunities for the departments under the federal government, so you can get a head start on some potential contracting opportunities. FedBiz Ops are the federal business opportunities. We discussed that. There's also some information for startups via Google. If you go to startup.google, provides great, I can't tell you, outstanding resources for businesses who are starting up, especially during this time. It talks about hiring, how to get funding, how to develop business plans to jumpstart your business. There's also the IBM startup, the Microsoft startup. Goldman Sachs has the 10,000 Small Business Program. All of these are at your fingertip. And I believe as a minority and women-owned business, you need to have a deep reservoir of resources so you can thrive, not only in times of prosperity, but times of austerity or times of crisis, which we find ourselves in now. Other resource hubs for small, minority, and women-owned businesses, I would encourage you to check those out. There's the Dell's Women Entrepreneur Network. Comcast has a small business hub, UPS, Salesforce. Hello Alice has small business resources and funding opportunities listed. So Hello Alice is a great resource. I know some firms who have received the Hello Alice $10,000 grant. Congratulations. And I would encourage others to pursue that as well. We talked about I Fund Women already. We talked about the National Federation of Independent Businesses and their resource hub. Constant Contacts just kicked off their small business resource kit. Again, take advantage of these free resources that are being made available to you. And more importantly, if you can, if time permits, that you take advantage of these grant opportunities to infuse cash in your business. It is better to have the cash and not need it than to need it and not have the cash, because in times of emergency, renting money can be expensive. And as with any certification, and as I share with my clients, my goal is to help your capabilities speak louder than your certification, but we're not going to leave the certification behind. The certification is the icing on the cake. We're selling your skills, your capabilities. However, what's going to bring your client additional value to help you outpace competition is your certification. And especially when you're neck and neck with your competition, this could be the game changer for your business. So we go to the next slide. It's simply stating some of the things I just stated there, what my goal is. And then ultimately, what we want you to do as a business owner, as a minority or women-owned business, is to become a strategic partner with your customer. And so you understand what I've coined that a strategic partner, as it relates to small minority businesses and women businesses, is one who knows, understands, and shows their support of their customers' core strategies, can live up to their customers' core values, is agile, innovative, can grow with their customers, has positioned themselves to bring their customers value by anticipating their needs, and is able to deliver cost-effective solutions with their customer's customer in mind. That's a strategic partner. And ultimately, that's what you want to be if you want to build a loyal customer base. And the inroad to that is through certification. And you might say to yourself, why do I have to get certified? No, you don't have to get certified. You can go after these contracting opportunities without, let me just say that, without getting certified. However, I can tell you, you will be outpaced by the competition if they are certified and you're not. And what I'm stating is, don't let a piece of paper like certification get in the way of making that green piece of paper, which is going to help you build your bottom line. Now, that's the end of this portion of the presentation. This is the end of the presentation. The information I have to share with you today related to certification. Again, if you want to find out more about how to do business with the government, public, and private sector, and how to leverage supplier diversity programs, I would encourage you to check out my podcast, Waging War on Wealth, Leveraging Supplier Diversity Programs, which is on Google, Apple, Anchor, Spotify, Spreaker, and other platforms. You can reach me either on LinkedIn. I'm at Instagram at TowandaismTowanda. I'm at Twitter at Towandaism. And my email address, again, is tmcneil69@comcast.net. My name is Towanda Livingston. I'm the Chief Business Strategist and the CEO of Livingston Worx, where we help minority, women, and small businesses not only gain access to contracting opportunities, but get in, stay in, win until winning becomes a habit for your business. Thank you for investing your time with me today. And I hope that you all remember that whatever you're going through, no one, remember this, no one can quarantine greatness.
Thank you, Towanda. That was so good. A few people on Facebook said thank you too, and we've run pretty far over, so I don't think we're going to take any more questions, but you have all of Towanda's information if you want to follow up and ask anything else. And I'm going to be making those resources available on Facebook as soon as we're finished up with this video. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending.
Thank you for your time. Bye. Thank you, Jed.